Welcome back to the emergency episode of the Dirt Drive podcast. We've got Wookie remote from sunny Florida, the one of the 50 U.S. states not under a winter weather advisory today. There was a plan this weekend to do a Hammers trip preview with the guys, and we're all snowed in. So you guys get a news episode.
All right.
So, yeah. Obviously, all the Hammer stuff coming up in the next week or two. Well, really, going to be next month or two in podcast land. But make sure you guys follow us, share it with your friends. We've got some really, really cool projects we're doing. Some good guests, and should be a real good party. In the meantime, what is going on in the automotive news world?
Oh man, where to start? So I had a couple of things that I sent you that I thought would be fun to talk about. Really, in the off-roading affordable sports car world.
Such a specific thing
to start. Yeah, but if anybody's familiar with the Grand Tour, which I'm sure most people are listening to this podcast, but they did an episode called Sand Job last year or 2 years ago, and it was about
I think it's longer than that.
These Baja style supercars. What'd you say?
I'm pretty sure it's longer than that because I'm pretty sure it's been off the air for 2 years now.
I don't think so. No, their last episode was November or December 24. So you're right. It could be 2 years, I guess. Then doesn't matter.
Anyway, yeah.
The point of the episode was they talked about how there are these trending off-road supercars like the 911 Dakar and I forget the name of the Huracan one, which we talked about I think in a previous podcast actually. But now there's this new trend of building more affordable sports cars with the same motto of off-roader sports car. So the one that caught my eye was this Toyota GR86, which actually looks really good. At least I think it does. But I'm curious to get your opinion from somebody that does do overlanding and off-roading in general, and I'm not so much into that. Do you think there's a place for a two-door, 2 plus half seats in the back? Is there a place for that in the overlanding world and just off-roading in general?
No, I think what we're seeing is very much a resurgence of the rally, like the mid-'80s European rally scene. Because off-roading has grown a bunch, and car guys don't necessarily love trucks. So now they're just rallifying everything, which I don't hate at all. Yeah. I don't see a practical use for it in like the true overland space. Maybe it's an alternative to the hatchback world that does mountain biking and hiking. But nobody's ever put the GR86 or FRS or BRZ, whatever you want to call it, in the practical car category. So, loading up with a bunch of gear, loading up with a bunch of gear and going out in the woods doesn't make sense.
I mean,
blasting dirt roads, that makes perfect sense and is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I don't know if you have the article up, but in the GR86 one, it's got a photo of it next to tents. And it's got a little roof rack and stuff. I was just curious, does that look to you? Does that look super lame? Does it look cool? Could somebody like me who doesn't do major off-roading, I'm not going to go,
this would be the perfect,
like that, but
I would say this is the perfect Florida off-road car.
Yeah,
because
right.
all of your roads are hard packed sand through like the Ocala National Forest. Like, yeah, you're gonna have some deep mud and some swamp, but you could avoid that relatively easily if you wanted to.
Sure.
The the car guy in me is like, the problem is, as good as it is, it's kind of ruined on road, but it's also probably a lot of fun off road. So
Right. Right. You're probably getting a lot of road noise from the big tires and all that kind of stuff. So it's,
yeah,
you're
higher
not getting the
higher
same
center of
agility that
gravity.
you. Yeah, right. Exactly. You're not getting the same agility that you would in the GR86, which I think still is the lowest sitting production car, or at least it
Hmm.
was when it first was out. I don't know if it still holds that record.
Yeah,
Which shout out
that's
to our buddy Eric Mezzo, who had the BRZ, who is one of the biggest people I know and had the lowest sitting car.
me and him both though. Him and I were the two biggest in the friend group and had the two smallest sports cars.
Yeah, you're right because you had the Z4 at the time, right?
Yeah, I either had the Z4 or the 1 Series. I mean, they were close enough in
Sure,
ownership that
sure.
it could have been either one. But even then, like
Right,
all my
right.
E30s, like the Z4, the 1 Series, like they were
Hmm.
all with me in
All tiny
a
cars.
2.5 seater.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
That was great. But yeah, I find, for me, I find this GR86 intriguing. Like I'm not going to go
yeah,
out and buy a truck or a Bronco or Wrangler or anything like that. Like that's just not my speed. But this, I'm like, this is kind of cool.
yeah. I
But
think
what's
the
interesting actually is that Toyota is the one that made it and not Subaru, because Subaru obviously has the BRZ version, and Subaru, as we all know, is the toughest thing on the planet and is known for rally. So for them to not be the ones to trailblaze on that, I thought was interesting.
So I know Toyota in recent years, obviously with the Forerunner, Tacoma, Land Cruiser, their whole TRD line, like everything's got a TRD badge now. So they're really leaning into the off road side of
True.
things. But the
Yeah.
reason I bring up rally is like ARA, American Rally Association, is growing pretty rapidly in the US,
Yeah.
and Toyota is heavily involved in that. So I'm not surprised it's a Toyota badge over a Subaru. I
That's
don't.
interesting.
I mean, Toyota's been leaning really hard into motorsport for the last 5 or 6 years now, if not longer.
Yeah.
So I don't. To me, it makes sense knowing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even put the TRD stuff in my brain.
Well, but right. So I mean, look, like all the Gazoo racing stuff, they're
Yeah.
heavy
Yeah.
into the endurance racing now. They're heavy into NASCAR. They had a huge presence at Dakar. Like there's there's a lot of motorsport growth from Toyota.
Yeah. So then on the flip side of that, the other one of the other articles that had caught my attention was about the Subaru WRX STI, which of course is no longer in production, but Subaru was teasing for the past few weeks really that something STI related was coming,
Yeah.
and it got every everybody, especially our age,
Spun
every
up.
millennial
Yeah.
that grew up with with bug eyes and peanut eyes, that
Yep.
the STI was the car to have in the mid two
Yep.
thousands, and then it ended up being a non-US based version of the WRX, which is hideous, with all its stupid plastic arrow, and it's still an STI branded thing, but it's basically just a WRX with a manual, and I think it might have a little bit extra power,
Yeah. I
but
mean, it's so easy
it's
to
not.
have different. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly, and it's just like, do, do you feel okay? My opinion, I feel like Subaru has like a responsibility to car culture to trailblaze in that sense, And maybe that's just me just growing up with it, but I'm like, oh man, I feel like they've lost their way in a lot of regards. What do you think?
I would definitely say that's grumpy millennial thinking. I think they've been out of that mindset as a company for a while now.
Yeah,
I'm
especially
not
not
going to be
having the
upset.
competition as with the Evo, because of course that
Right.
was they were going head to head for so long, and then
Well, but a lot of that was their involvement with World Rally. So like they've backed
right,
out of a lot of that motorsport, and I don't hate it just because I think they're building a better car now than they did 10 years ago. So I think they prioritized that,
yeah,
uh, which isn't a bad thing. It's it left the door open for Toyota to come in and hammer it hard with the Corolla GR and the Camry. Is it a TRD Camry?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think that they have a TR. There's definitely a sporty trim of the
yeah,
Camry, but I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
if
yeah.
it's
Based around
a
NASCAR, like,
TRD.
and
Yeah,
I think,
and in I think it's the rest of the world other than the U.S. They've got the Yaris GR too, which
yep,
is supposed to be very very good. But
yeah, and I think that's really the biggest factor in a lot of these conversations is
yeah,
it doesn't to me it doesn't matter who's participating as long as somebody is keeping it alive and well, right? Like, you know,
yeah,
F1, all the endurance racing, all that's technology that they're pumping out into these race cars over time does trickle down into production cars. So like
sure, sure,
there's absolutely a benefit for companies to stay involved in motorsport, and if they're, you know, if they back out of motorsport and also build you a shitty product, i.e. Mopar and Jeep right now, like they're coming back, but like all those
yeah,
FCA and Stellantis mergers, they backed out of all of that. They weren't involved in it, and they, in my opinion, as an enthusiast, they lost touch of what people wanted in their product, and they started building a product for a bottom line, and that led to a worse product. It's
that makes
why
sense.
we're having this ad push of we're bringing the V8 back, we're saving the brand, right? Like it's they somebody clearly recognized, like, oh shit, we weren't listening to people, and we're going to start listening again. And I think
Right.
that the connection is in motorsport. So yeah, Subaru's not racing rally anymore, but they do still stay pretty well tied to their customer base and their community, and they're putting out the wilderness
Yeah.
editions. They're adjusting their their product to what people are buying, what people want. So I don't see a big negative in what they're doing. I just think, as a fellow grumpy millennial, it's a shame because I mean, how often were we just sitting in a parking lot somewhere and we'd be like, Subaru. Like
Yep. There it goes.
it's just one of those distinct sounds that that really defined our generation of car culture. So it'd be cool to have it
Yeah. The
back.
Boxer Rumble.
I think,
Yeah.
like most things, Gen Z ruined that. You know, we grew up making fun of BMW and Audi drivers, and now the Subaru drivers have replaced that. So
Yeah. Yeah. That is for sure. All right. So on that same line, then, so we talked about Toyota taking advantage of it. Subaru, not so much. You mentioned Mopar. Who
yeah,
do you think in the industry is not capitalizing on it that should? I know my
um,
answer.
honestly, it, Subaru. Like,
Yeah.
I think the competition's there. Like with the boom and rally, if they wanted to put out a real good all wheel drive STI and compete with that Corolla GR team and do some factory support on that end of it, I think we'd end up with some fantastic racing, which is only going to make that sport that much better.
Yeah. That's a great answer. Mine's kind of a wild card, and I'm not saying they have the racing pedigree in any way, but it's just the company that first came to mind of who I think would benefit and do well with this is Volkswagen.
Mm,
I feel like they
interesting.
could do so much with with the Jetta and the GTI platforms or golf platforms to do something similar to what this BRZ was of saying, hey, let's make a little bit more of a rugged version as opposed to
Hmm.
in the mid 2000s on top of Subaru being such a trend in the rally part of it. Volkswagens, I mean, if you didn't have an STI, you had a GTI or a Golf R that was slammed, with camber and giant rims, and it was that super clean lowrider. But I don't know. I feel like that same type of car could do really well. Like, can you
Here's
imagine if they made like with the ID Buzz, for instance? Imagine making like an overlanding version of that.
sure. I
I
mean,
mean,
I
I know
know
it's
they.
electric, which is it was it's kind
Oh,
of
what they call
a
it?
bummer for that. But
Sure.
God, Stacey's gonna hate me for bringing up the ID Buzz. I pointed out every chance I get, and she hates it, and I'm like, come on, let's just get it.
I
Oh,
saw
but
one the other day and was
I
like,
freaking love them.
"Oh shit." Um,
I love them
I don't
so
know.
much.
I To me, it's the perfect use of an EV in the sense that it
Yeah,
is it's a good heritage. It's a gimmick. Like they don't want to produce 2 million of them and replace all cars with the ID
yeah,
bus. Uh,
right, yeah, exactly.
so I I get what you're saying. I don't disagree.
Mm,
My speculation would be they being the Volkswagen Audi group. I think they as a company very much stick to their heritage as
mm,
far as each brand. Not to be overly historical, but Volkswagen translates to the people's car.
yeah, for
Um,
sure. Yeah,
it was supposed to be the cheap, affordable daily driver option.
mm,
Yeah, yeah. They don't do much with the brand itself.
yeah,
The company is super involved when you factor in the Audi and Porsche side of it. Like
yeah,
they're doing, they've got their toe in everything. Like there's Cayennes
mm,
running Dakar this year. They did the 911 Dakar. That's still out there like running Dakar. Like they are still very involved, and I think it gets lost on the badging side of it, but they're still getting that trickle down effect because Volkswagens are just cheap Audis, which are just
right.
cheap Porsches. So they're not
Well,
they're not taking advantage of it. They're just not doing it under the Volkswagen brand.
but I feel
So I
like
don't
that's
I
even
don't
more
know.
reason to if both Porsche and Audi can do it. They've already
Yeah, I
got that.
I think they would lose their. Uh, I mean, it's not Ferrari level exclusivity, but
No,
the marketing around the Porsche Audi side of it, I think relies on the fact that that is the moneymaker motorsport branding.
yeah,
Because it's like like the Touareg and stuff were involved in a lot of it before the Cayenne came along. But then when the Cayenne came
hmm,
along, which is a Touareg, that
right.
that became the motorsport brand. So it, I understand why they're not doing it. I also see your point. Um,
It was just the one that
where
came to mind. Obviously, like I'm not in charge, so
yeah,
it's not like they're listening to me on it.
yeah,
But
yeah. Neither am I.
I was
I
thinking
just
of a company
I,
that that could capitalize on it that aren't.
I to that point. I don't see how race carifying a Jetta or an Atlas is gonna really benefit that brand significantly
Hmm. Yeah,
when you can do the exact same thing with the RS6,
true.
which already
Yeah,
exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only reason I was saying it was from an affordability standpoint, which is the benefit of a WRX or the GR86, where it's
Yeah,
not in an RS6 category. So I
yeah,
was just thinking from the common car, or even thinking of next generation, somebody that's in high school and is looking for their first cool car, and like, is there a space of even the aftermarket of saying, screw it, I'm gonna take my
oh yeah,
GR86 and put a lift on it and do
yeah,
some cool stuff. So
yeah. I think everything should get modified at some point, in my opinion. I think the
yeah,
to your point, whatever you got, whatever you can afford, especially if you're younger, is what you should work with.
sure,
Don't go chasing anything crazy. You know, just because you like Volkswagen, Audi, Porsches doesn't mean you have to go buy a Porsche.
yeah,
There's options out there. First gen Cayennes are pretty cheap. Uh, you know, you don't have to go buy a brand new Jetta just because. And I think that's the part that I'm hung up on saying Volkswagen could do more is that enthusiast market isn't searching for affordable four-door sedans.
sure, sure.
Where like
Yeah, I just you're right. You're right for sure.
yeah, just like where like
Yeah,
Toyota's coming out with packages and they need to sell those cars and they're trying to get enthusiasts to buy their boring four-door sedan. Right? Like
yeah,
Volkswagen doesn't have issues selling that car.
yeah. That's
So,
true. It's funny. As you were talking, it dawned on me that VW did do a version of the Beetle. They did the Dune version
yeah.
in the 20 teens, and I don't think it did
Well,
very well. But
no.
that being said, that generation Beetle didn't do that well. But
Was yeah.
it's just it is an interesting thought.
Yep. Yeah, and it's again that's in line with you're chasing the marketing side of it. Are you actually
Right.
producing something that's worthwhile?
Yeah.
Where in the past, and like Subaru has proven they can produce something that actually does what they're marketing it to do.
Yeah. True. True.
Especially in the off-road space. Whether it's rally or overlanding or soft roading, whatever. There's definitely some proof of concept. Uh,
Oh, I like that.
interesting. Interesting.
The other
I,
company I thought of was Honda, which of course
I was just gonna say Honda would be another one that would make my list because like they are trying, right? Like they're doing stuff with the SUVs and all the trail sport packages, and all that. I mean, they've always had a decent motorsport presence with the Type R's and whatnot, but not so much in the off road space. I know they did.
yeah.
They did a Ridgeline Baja truck at one point.
Did it catch on or not really? Like, probably not. If I
It was.
I
It
haven't
wasn't.
heard of it.
It wasn't a Ridgeline. It was a tube chassis trophy truck with Honda livery on it.
Got it. Got it.
So, I think they are like they do get involved. I think Honda's just doesn't have the budget to do big significant things. I mean, well, I say that. Didn't they just sign on with somebody to build F1 engines?
I think you're right. I don't follow F1 too much, but yes, I feel like I did. I did read something along those lines.
Honda F1. God bless the internet.
I'm glad you. Have
Yeah, I mean, okay, so they've been around for a while. They were first in F1 in '64. They are back in 2026. Hold on. Who are they building the engines for? Somebody's screaming at their steering wheel right now with the answer. Aston Martin.
Really?
Honda
That's
is prepared to power Aston Martin for the 2026 onwards. Who is
That's
that?
a cool matchup.
Who was Aston Martin using for engines previously?
I mean, I know in their production cars they use Mercedes engines, but I don't think that translates to F1.
Yeah, because uh,
Before somebody corrects me, I'm
F1's
gonna say AMG
F.
engines
Yeah, all right.
for block
So
engines.
they were using Mercedes AMG because like I know there's only like a handful of companies that actually build compliant F1
Yeah,
engines. So like
I
the
was right.
teams have to
Good
buy
on me.
buy one of those engines essentially.
Yeah,
So they were using Mercedes. Interesting.
yeah. Like I said, I knew they were partnered for production cars, but I wasn't sure
Yeah.
about F1.
All right, here you go. I just found a chart. 2026. Whoa, did not expect to see that on here.
What's that?
Okay, so I know you said you don't follow F1, and I don't really know how much of our listener base follows it. However, the Cadillac, Haas, and Ferrari teams all use Ferrari engines. Mercedes, McLaren, Alpine, and Williams are all using Mercedes engines. Audi, which I'm guessing is new to the game because I didn't realize Audi had a team.
Yeah.
They're using their own engines. Aston Martin is using Honda, and the two Red Bull teams are now partnered with Ford.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Audi is the stake F1 team,
What does
but
that mean?
I did not know Ford. Like, well, that's just the sponsor of the team, like the name of the
Oh,
team.
oh, got it.
The I'm surprised. I did not know. I knew Cadillac got approved to do a team. That's all funded, or well, I should say funded by, but that's a Mario Andretti project.
Yeah.
I did not know Ford was getting in on it. That's interesting. So another brand that's getting real heavy into the motorsport side of it. You know, Ford is a huge. I mean, I should say huge. They are like the main, one of the main sponsors for King of the Hammers. They've been doing that ever since they released the Bronco. So, you know,
Right.
now the mechanic in me says go build a better product instead of blowing all your money on F1 engines. But hey,
Sure. Sure.
maybe maybe we'll get a better engine now that they have F1 research.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to pivot for a little bit, but I want to pick your brain on this because so we had this conversation just yesterday about at the shop doing an LS swap.
Yep.
So I thought that was interesting, and of course, it's me just not knowing that much about about this kind of stuff. So is that a popular swap to have an LS
Well,
into something Mopar as opposed to you'd think with the legendary Hemi they wouldn't need to do that, but I know then there's the production issues with the Hemi and not producing it. So I was just
yeah.
curious, like what spawned that kind of swap.
So the in the modern hot rod world, like, shit, even go back into the classic hot rod world. The small block Chevy, the 350 Chevy V8,
Sure,
was the motor that was in everything. So
right.
if you wanted a bigger motor for your car, you could find 350s just about anywhere. The LS platform is literally just it starts at Gen 3 of the Chevy V8. So it was just the next iteration of the small block Chevy, and
Right.
for the most part they're very reliable engines, they're well built, and they have that Gen 3 that really kicked off what made the LS swap so popular. That motor platform is identical for like every variation of it for 15 years. So there was a 4.8, a 5.3, and a 6 liter that are all the same block. All the parts are interchangeable. You can take a 4.8, bore the cylinders, and put 6 liter parts on it, and you have a 6 liter. Like it's the engine is Lego, and it just makes it super easy to put in anything you want.
Yeah.
And same thing, they were in everything. That 5.3, there's a variation of the 5.3 that comes in all of the Chevy trucks. So your Tahoes, your Suburbans, the 1500s, the gas powered 2500s. That 6 liter, which is basically the LS1 or LS3 platform, which was in the Corvette. That's in some of the bigger trucks in a gas version. All your Cadillacs had mid-range derivatives that aren't quite Corvette, but also aren't full truck motor. Like there's some aluminum head versions and aluminum block versions and cast iron block and cast iron head. So there's all these different engine codes, but all those parts are interchangeable. And so because of that, modern hot rod guys started putting them in everything. So therefore the aftermarket starts to support it. Now you can get plug and play computers. Like I can go to Holly and for basically $2,500, I can get an entire computer and harness to run any LS in the world and put it in literally anything. And it's a good, mostly reliable engine when you start looking at fuel injected V8s, and they're cheap. Like there's a joke, people joke about this on the internet all the time. You can go rent a Chevy van from U-Haul and get a $200 engine swap because you can pull the motor right out of the van, and it's a 6-liter LS. So like people are like, oh, I'm swapping my 4.8 for a 6-liter today. Cost me $29.99. So it's like they're literally hundreds of thousands of them just laying around. Like there's a junkyard we've used to buy motors from before that just does LSs. They just buy things that had LS V8s in it and pull the motors out. So to answer your question of why an LS and a Jeep over a Hemi, really they're almost the exact same thing, same horsepower, same all the little knick-knacky stuff. This one specifically was just the availability of the parts. We can get the LS kit a lot faster than we can get the Hemi kit. Depending on who you ask, you can make more power per dollar in the LS world because of the availability of parts. Tomatoes.
Gotcha.
That's really what it comes down to.
I was just surprised when obviously Jeep's part of the Hemi world, so I just didn't.
Yeah, and I would say we've done more Hemis than we've done LSs, but the process is exactly the same. It's just a matter of what parts we're using. So
Gotcha. That's interesting.
I'm gonna pause you real quick. I need to go find my charger.
By the way, how do you like my vocal booth in the back?
It looks fantastic. Can't wait to hear some. Actually, yeah, this doesn't really matter. We're gonna need some music for the long form video we're doing at Hammers.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what your time frame is, but we could always. It's always better than having to dig through all the royalty free stuff if you want to score the old documentary.
I would absolutely love to.
We'll figure that out.
What's the time frame?
So I think at the latest mid-March for release, if not earlier. But we gotta go film everything and see what it's gonna actually come out as and how the week goes. We have a plan, but we're also winging it all at the same time.
Sounds good.
So
all right, yeah, I can definitely work on it throughout February because I gotta finish Cygnus this week and then be done with that. So
yeah, I mean the event's the first week of February. Little mini preview for the listeners. We're gonna have 4 specific podcast episodes that come out right after Hammers, kind of batched and themed together, and then some point within that month we're going to have at least one long form YouTube video kind of documenting the trip and some of the highlights of what it takes to put on King of the Hammers on public land.
For sure.
So it should be real fun. We've got
that's awesome.
We got some partners involved. Rocktrix is helping us out. SEMA Action's helping us out. Backroads of Appalachia is helping us out. So we've got some good access, and
that's incredible.
we'll put out some really good content.
I can't wait.
Oh yeah, we're very 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 excited.
As you should be. As you should be.
Yeah. The hardest part is like not that we didn't want to have the partnerships and the help to get there, but like we now actually have work to do. So we
Yeah.
got to balance the fan experience with the media side of it, but
Right. Because this
I
is your
mean,
first time going, right?
yeah. But that's also part of the experience and what the video's about. So it should I'm very curious because like we're utilizing PJ for a lot of the photography side of it, and he's got that creative eye and that skill set.
Great.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's
I
gonna be a good
love it.
time. But yeah, I think
I'm excited for you.
tie in that podcast intro music and see if we can get a nice like even because I mean I've always said the key to a good quality video on a YouTube, like as far as how I watch YouTube, the audio quality's got to be good and music. If you nail both of those, the visuals aren't as important. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. No, totally.
So,
I totally get that.
yeah. Anyway, it's
Yeah.
the divergence.
No, I'm happy to work on some stuff for you.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking
Related,
of
but
there's a
what are you
couple.
drinking?
Poor man's Irish coffee.
Okay.
Just just put bourbon in coffee.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I've got a nice red breast Irish whiskey here.
Oh, look
Just
at that.
just the 12
Going with
years.
the Irish theme.
I do love a good Irish whiskey. Sorry, you were going to say something else. That I don't know if you said you were going to say something about riffs that you had in your head. Is that what you were going to say?
Oh, yeah. I can think of a couple riffs from a couple of your existing songs that like would be good for like the B-roll shots of the race cars.
Okay. I've got a couple in mind, so I'll send you some clips of stuff, and you can pick and choose. How's that?
I was gonna say we can put the video together, and then once you see the video,
That's a
you
good
can
idea.
pick what. Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
yeah, and I'll put you in touch with PJ and when because he's gonna do
Okay.
the editing stuff. So when he's putting everything
Okay.
together,
Yeah, that sounds great.
you can work on times and stuff like that.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
This project's gonna be awesome.
I'm
Very
excited to be a
excited.
small part of it.
Listen, next year you're gonna be maybe by the end of the year. I don't know how much vacation time you get, but start banking it.
I get a good amount.
Good. We'll talk some of those details off air. But
Okay. That sounds good.
yeah,
Yeah,
this
I
is
already
this-
I put on the radar already for the end of the year. If you guys are going to SEMA again, I might
yeah,
be able to join for that, or
hell yeah,
we'll chat. We'll chat.
yeah. But yeah, what else news wise? I mean, I haven't, like I said, I've been very much focused on hammers and planning that trip. I'm gonna scroll some of my newsletters and see. I did this earlier, and nothing really jumped out at me.
Yeah, those were the two big things that I had were kind of the place of affordable off-road sports cars.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen anything as far as stuff that's been like announced or released. Yeah, I'm trying to think. The auto show circuit hasn't produced anything groundbreaking that I've seen.
Yeah,
We already covered the Jeep Recon for those folks that care about that crap.
if you want something that's not off-road related but is an interesting and controversial thing, is the new Honda Prelude.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's to me, that's a big highlight of what the industry trend is right now.
Yeah.
Overpriced things that aren't practical.
Yeah, I
Um,
was watching a review about it last night, and it really, I thought it was really to just take the place of the Coupe SI Civic, but it doesn't. It barely has a back seat. It's just not nearly as practical. And then you got the hybrid powertrain, so therefore you can't get the manual, and it's still only 200 horsepower.
yep.
I mean,
Yeah, there was.
maybe they're gonna, like what they did with the Integra, where when they first came out with that, everybody was kind of like, "Oh, this is bland and boring," and then they came out with the A Spec and the Type S versions.
Sure.
Of course, that's close to my heart because that's what I have is the Type S. But they might do the same with the Prelude, which then that'd be sick. But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't. I don't mean this to speak ill of Honda, but I feel like they're always a couple years behind the trend anyway.
Yeah,
So, like,
I'd
I
agree with
think
that.
if the Prelude had come out in 2022, I think it would have done great when everybody was buying, hybrids and
Right.
EVs. Like, when it was like it didn't matter what the car was, if it was available as an EV or a hybrid, people bought it. Um, I've said the same thing when they announced the new Scout project. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Scouts, they're 10 years late to the market. Like
Right.
those aren't even supposed to be in production until 27, and by 27, that bubble's already fading. I don't know if I'd call it a complete burst, but so it's interesting because it's the biggest issue we have from an industry standpoint is the cost of a new car.
Right. Oh, for sure.
And yeah, lending has come down a little bit, so it's making it more realistic for most people. But we still have it's been increasingly more and more talked about that the lending in the auto industry right now is like '08 housing crisis type stats.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
to come out with a $50,000 sports car that isn't really a sports car, but it's also not a family car, like now you got to convince young Gen Zers and Gen I that these are cool cars,
Yeah.
or even to go get a car. Like half of
Yeah.
them don't drive,
Yeah. For sure.
so the manual is almost a completely separate topic because I don't see that catching on. I think in
Yeah.
20 years the manual is completely extinct.
Sadly,
I
I
think
agree.
as much as it pains me, I'm okay with it because technology evolution is a good thing as a whole,
Yeah.
and that enthusiast market will find that thing that replaces it that gives you that experience, right? Like we like the manual because that's what we grew up as having fun.
Yeah.
Big
Right.
downshifts, high revs, burnouts, all that kind of fun stuff. These kids are growing up in the world of CVTs and EVs, so like downshifting isn't a thing for them,
Right.
right?
But
And
instant torque on at a green
exactly,
light, that is,
yep, right.
which is just
You
as
know,
exciting in a different way. I mean, doing it in silence isn't always that exciting, but
yeah,
but
but it's just a different
having that.
excitement. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
without going full boomer, like yeah, give me a carbureted V8 all day, like that tickles my fancy. But I also understand how kids who have never experienced that think it's way cooler to have their eyeballs go into the back of their head and accelerate at Mach Jesus in a four-door sedan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which again, it is also exciting. Like I've been in the Tesla Plaid when you put your foot down, and it is unbelievably fast.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not cool. I just don't think it's cool.
Yeah.
So
So, all right. So, thinking of the EV bubble and all that from the off-roading world.
oh
Oh, go ahead.
It's funny. I just thought of something that I did see that applies to this. Jeep
Okay.
has completely killed the 4xe program.
Really?
Yep. Mostly due to the fact that they were catching fire and they have not found a fix for it. It's not a
Yeah,
joke.
that's
That's
a problem.
actually that's why they've just stopped production on them.
That's interesting. I have a buddy in Jersey that has one, and I'm curious to see if A, his has caught fire, or B, he likes it and or plans on keeping it.
Did he do the Wrangler or the Grand Cherokee?
He's got it's the 4-door Wrangler.
Okay. Yeah, it was the
Why
only. It was the
why is
4-door
one better than the
Wrangler.
other?
No, because it's kind of the same technology. However, I think the 4xe concept and platform works better in the Grand Cherokee, just from a packaging standpoint.
Yeah.
The 4xe from an off-road stand, like, despite what the French leadership of Stellantis will tell you, the Wrangler is not a luxury vehicle.
No.
It was never supposed to be. They damn near ruined the nameplate by trying to sell them for $100,000. The brand is definitely backtracking some of that now. Keeping a manual transmission, manual windows, cloth seats, all that kind of stuff as good options.
Yeah.
And like a hybrid, because of the weight and the wiring and like all the computers and the management system that are required to run those drivetrains, you end up with an expensive vehicle that's harder to maintain.
Right.
And just frankly, if you use it as an off-roader, you're just creating problems for yourself. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It doesn't matter how well built it is. There are $1 million off-road race cars that can't stand up to abuse. A Baja truck, an Ultra 4 car, all that stuff gets rebuilt every race. Like
Right.
you build it to survive a day, not a lifetime.
It's funny you say that because I never thought about that until just a couple weeks ago. My, as you know, my daughter Morgan is super into monster trucks right now. She's
Yep.
not even 3 years old yet, but she loves monster trucks. So we went to Monster Jam, which I had never done before, and it hit me at that time that these trucks just fall apart, during the competition, and then they just
Yeah.
rebuild them for each thing, and I didn't realize how much of a beating they take, and it's just like, yep, axles are breaking, wheels are flying off, and things are catching
You need
fire.
to go back. I want to say 3 or 4 episodes. We did an interview with Cliff, who is the driver and owner operator of the Virginia Giant,
Yeah, I remember you
which
telling me
is
that.
yeah. So the Virginia Giant is one of the original 10 monster trucks from the 80s. Still runs it. He's the second owner, so he took over from the guy who founded the truck and basically grew Monster Jam and the monster truck circuit into what it is now.
Yeah.
He told us there are guys on the lower circuits. They don't run radiators. They don't even have coolant in the engines
Wow.
because they're such high horsepower, high like performance motors that the coolant jackets are weak points. So it's these like crazy high performance trucks that are literally built to run for 2 minutes at a time, tops. From the
Wow.
time they start it and do their 90-second freestyle run or their race, they shut it off and that's it. And it's, the temp's pegged 250, 260. They got to cool it down.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
not, because we joked with him. We were like, oh, it'd probably be a great bug out vehicle. He goes, yeah, if you're trying to bug out at the end of your driveway. I'm like, fair point. And he's like tires, like a set of those tires are 15-year tires because they're, $800 to $1,000 a piece.
It's wild.
They rebuild the motor every year to year and a half at $50,000 a motor. Like, it's it's a crazy when you really factor in the technology. It's a totally different world.
Yeah.
And back to the original point, the river, the mud, the sand, the gravel, whatever it is, does not give a shit how
Right.
well built it is. It'll destroy it. Like, it's just the nature of the game. All motorsports the same
Yeah.
way. It's not just an off road thing. So that's really my only gripe on the whole hybrid thing. And like Toyota's having the same issue with the iForce stuff. The more complicated we make them, the harder they are to maintain, which means the less people are going to go off road and more people are going to keep the old stuff.
Yeah. With the electric stuff, for let's say a company like Rivian, with this whole EV bubble and just everything like that, do you see a place for them in the future now, or do you think
Oh yeah,
they'll die
there's
down,
always going to be a
potentially even
there's always
potential? Go ahead.
there's always going to be a place.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. They're not going to be the only thing. And I think that's the important factor here. Is it's not a matter of no EVs at all. It's a matter of let's build the best product we can for its use.
Yeah. Do you
And
see a potential opportunity for them to like partner with somebody that does make engines to have a hybrid, gas electric, or they're going to just stay EV completely?
I mean, maybe they have it in a different model, or 10 years down the line they do a redesign.
Yeah.
I don't. What I like about where the industry is now with the EV companies is it's very much that 1920s, the teens, where anybody and everybody's building a vehicle, right?
Right.
I'm curious to see from a technology standpoint if the government subsidies and the boom of EVs, with that winding down, if we start to see other alternative fuels, if we start to see companies coming out with hydrogen. I doubt we'll see like a natural gas or propane derivative come back. They've been trying that for 30 years, and that's gonna be a hard one to catch on with the price of natural gas and propane.
Yeah.
You're gonna start to see stuff get developed more. Edison Motors in the trucking world, their concept is great, and it's not new. It's we've beat it to death at this point. It's locomotive and cargo ships and cruise ships. Like everybody runs that same process.
Right.
So like just seeing these small companies popping up like Rivian's, like Lucid, Tesla is kind of the main example of a company that came out of nowhere to build a specific product and has grown into a full-blown manufacturer. Scout's coming back.
I
Slate
was just going to say, so
exists.
with Scout in particular, do you have, if you were talking to somebody at Scout saying, what the hell are you doing? You're too far, removed from the reality of it. Like, what would you say a company like that should do to be sustainable?
So Scout specifically, from day one, they've had the right idea, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like they're still running solid axle. They're going to have basically a electric motor driving a transfer case with axles and drive shafts, where Rivian is dual motors. There's all this extra technology. So like Scout's kind of scaling back the extra technology and just replacing the engine with an electric motor and a battery. I think from a performance and capability standpoint, that's a good not process, a good concept. I personally, from an off-road standpoint, if you're in remote areas, I still have hesitations with full EV. Scout did say they are going to do some sort of range extender onboard engine generator, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
So to me, that's them acknowledging like, hey, this EV bubble is kind of dropping. There are going to be people who buy it strictly because it's got the Scout nameplate.
Right.
There are people who are going to buy it because it's the next cool thing. I don't know. I haven't seen much as far as like if they're trying to be a Rivian and build, 100,000 cars a year,
Yeah.
or if this is a 5-year project kind of thing.
Do you
Be
see?
curious to see.
Yeah, I was gonna say since that's such a tiny truck, do you see that catching on globally at all? Like especially in like markets like Europe, where the smaller is better in a lot of ways. You see, but they don't necessarily drive pickup trucks. Is that is there an opportunity there?
Well, I know the Ford Maverick, like has done well in like the UK, and I think that's a big chunk of it. I think
Is that electrified
EV
at
to
all,
me,
or is that combustion only?
I don't. It's there might be a hybrid option. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting because like that is what Slate's competing with. Like that's the size, the market that they're going after.
Right.
I've said it 1,000 times before. The the short distance, the high idle time, all those situations are where EV thrives. If you're
Sure.
in a city, small parking spaces, small parking garages, you know that's exactly what Slate is marketing towards. They're not trying to replace the dually diesel that hauls horse trailers around for hundreds of miles a day.
Right.
They want the plumber who lives in Manhattan and you know has to drive 4 miles every day, but it takes him an hour to go that 4 miles because now your 150-mile range is 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Right.
You're only using 10% of your battery every day. Where if your commute is 100 miles round trip, like mine is, I'm burning 50% of my battery every day, which is going to kill your long-term battery life. It's going to require you to charge every night. If you get stuck in traffic, weather's a factor. Like there's all these
Yeah.
things that
Right.
make EV a lot harder to do
Yeah.
if you actually have to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
And despite what mass media will tell you, the majority of the country does not live in city centers with a 5-mile commute.
Right. And the ones that are as you said before using mass transit and like that's the whole point
Right.
of the
And
convenience of living in a city is that is
yep.
walkability, mass transit, not needing the car. So
Yep.
it's just like what's the point?
Yeah. So it's like,
Also, I'm gonna correct myself. I think I was mixing up Scout and Slate because Slate's the one that's got the tiny, like almost
yeah.
Ford Ranger style pickup, right? And
Yep.
then
Yep.
Scout's
Yep.
got almost looks similar to a Rivian, right? The Rivian pickup. Right?
Yeah. I joked when they first released it that they copied Rivian's homework.
Yeah, right. It looks really
Appa-
similar. So but
yeah.
but Slate was the one in particular I was picturing in my head that really
Okay. Yeah.
tiny pickup.
Yeah. Scout's just bringing back the old International Scout trucks
Right,
from
right.
the 70s. I think Volkswagen, ironically, based on our earlier conversation, is a big investor in their project.
I think you're right. I remember that sounds familiar.
So yeah,
But yeah, I'd be interested to see. You know what? All right. So here's another. I'm going to stir the pot a little bit because I feel like listeners for this particular podcast are all going to hate this. But I'm curious to get your thought. China.
okay.
What do they're building cars. They're building a lot of them. Do you see them taking market share of that area at all, or they're just going to build what they're building and that's it?
Without turning this into a different podcast, the Chinese knockoffs and their in-house stuff, I don't think is going to be here anytime soon.
Yeah.
I think the political and the economical climate, regardless of the technology, regardless of the car, like none of that, in my opinion, is part of this conversation. strictly because I just don't see it happening. I don't
Yeah.
see us as a economy embracing a Chinese vehicle here.
Yeah.
The you know, as much as Detroit has been abandoned and the big three are outplayed by Europe and Japan year after year, we as a society still very much embrace the American car culture,
Sure.
for better
Sure.
or for worse. Like that opinion to
Yeah.
me is indifferent. Because even like factor in Toyota, who's one of the, if not the largest manufacturer in the world, they make models specifically for our market, right? Like, and
Right.
they make models specifically for other markets.
Right.
There's just not. I don't know if it's a shipping cost thing, an import thing. I don't really know the global side of that business. But
Well, I know
there's
that's the
not a
case with China
demand.
of why. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying I don't see the demand for us to start buying Chinese EVs anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, I know that's the thing with the reason they're building so many Chinese made cars now is because the import tax is so ridiculous on any international car that is not Chinese.
Yep.
So your prices for a Civic are going to be double or triple what it would
Right.
be here in the States. So of course it makes sense to have a domestic product for the Chinese, and they're rapidly
Yeah.
expanding as a country. So it makes sense. But I was just curious if you
Yep.
thought, if you saw a future where
Um,
Chinese
I mean,
vehicles.
there is absolutely a future where, again, not trying to change the temperature of the podcast, but there is absolutely a future slash alternate reality where everything is made in China. If you catch my
Yeah,
drift,
right. Yeah,
more so than it
yeah,
already is.
yeah, for sure. It's
Do
the
I think that's a realistic future? Probably not, but you know,
Marvel
you
Doomsday
can't rule it out
ranch
entirely.
timeline. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting part of the conversation because I think the technology is the gap between the quality of it is closing. You know, the stigma of, oh, it's made in China, like, yeah, it exists to some degree, but you know, where in an industry, in the off-road industry, where a lot of I don't call it 75%, even US based companies are made in China,
right.
but the temperature for China has shifted in wanting to make a decent product, and the US companies are demanding it and they're willing to pay for it. So
Right.
there's that quality gap exists. Right, you can get the cheap Chinese stuff off of Temu if you want it for $75,
Right.
but there's also, I'll say, quality Chinese parts.
Yeah. Hey, can you imagine buying an entire car off Temu?
It happens all the time.
Is that
There's
true?
YouTuber. No, seriously. Yeah,
Really?
there's a YouTube channel that's massive called Grindhard Plumbing Co.
Okay.
They're the guys that years ago were putting like Hayabusa motors in Barbie cars. They went viral 10 years ago. Like they're
Okay.
millions of subscribers. They build wild shit all the time.
Yeah.
One of the guys that runs that channel, there's a company they're called Chang Lee's.
Okay.
They're little like subcompact. They're basically go karts, or I should say golf carts, but they're importable EVs, and they're like a couple $1,000. And he's got a whole collection of them, and they cut them up. They go off roading with them. Like it's a bit within their channel for
Oh,
him
that's sick.
to drive these Changleys in like they're like jumping them. They're putting roll cages in it, roof racks, like long arm suspension. Like they're
That's
doing
awesome.
crazy things with them.
Yeah.
But they're like dirt cheap, and they literally show up in a wood crate, and they're like they're toys.
Yeah.
So yeah, it exists. It absolutely exists. I don't
Yeah.
know.
My other thought when this is just like historical evidence of it is like Japan was the the U.S. starting to buy Japanese cars isn't too far removed from the thought of buying Chinese cars. If you look at less than 100 years ago, post World War II, when Japan was making
Yep.
really tiny, affordable cars, especially in the gas crisis era and stuff, which is when Japanese cars really started to catch on here in the States because the big gas
Yep.
guzzling vehicles in the 70s couldn't compete. And to quote, it's not a direct quote, but in Back to the Future, Marty's like, "Yeah, Doc, like all the best stuff's made in Japan now," and in '85, and the Doc is just like, "What are you talking about? The Japanese,
Yeah.
and but it's true, and I'm just curious if you thought that China could have a similar trajectory or not. But what you said makes sense.
Well, I would say the argument I'll make there is politically and economically, we took it upon ourselves to help boost that Japanese economy
True.
and that manufacturing, right?
Right.
So when you factor in the market demand in that setting, it was a lot easier then to say like, hey, we're fixing Japan, so to speak, buy their
Yeah.
cars.
Right.
Here's the import credits or whatever it is to get your cars here. Where I think, again, for better or for worse, the argument would be made. I don't see us doing that for China right now.
Right. Sure.
I don't see us doing that for China in the next 15 years. So
Yeah.
I think
especially
that's
with
always going to be the hurdle.
right, especially with all the knockoffs too, because of the copyright issues or lack thereof.
Yep.
Where it's like, sure, we can make a Lambo Urus knockoff, and it'll be
Half the price.
$20,000 if you buy it in China. So
Yep. Well, and that's why their market is booming and successful, because that's what they're doing. They're not making anything new or original.
No.
And the stuff they are really isn't applicable to what we need.
right,
It's China has a major pollution issue. They have a high density population area. Like, what their market needs is very different than what we need. So, yeah,
this
I would like to see.
is a good conversation.
Yeah, I would like to see more boutique companies at this point. The requirement to go EV is gone,
Right.
or hopefully stays gone.
So
I think-
What do you mean more boutique companies? Like what's your vision? What do you mean exactly?
I want, and this is like very loosely based, but the big three, the Toyotas, the Volkswagen Audi groups, build what you're good at, right? Build me economical four-door cars, build me reliable pickup trucks, build me, full-size pickup trucks, give me the big V8 Hemis, like do what you guys do and let other companies grow. I think as an industry, they're in a weird place right now because they're trying to do everything. Ford invested 1 million square feet in EV technology, and their entire EV program is basically shutting down.
Right.
Let the Rivians, let the Teslas, let the Slates
Oh, I see.
build the EVs. And it's not just like I feel like it's not just a alternative fuels conversation. You've got the Ineos Grenadier in the off-road space.
Sure.
Look at in the hypercar world, you've got the Paganis and the McLarens, and you have these small independent brands that are building a one-off car that does pretty well for what it is, right? Like the Grenadier, as much as I hate it, but I hate it for different reasons, it does its job very well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw one today. It's not like they're not selling.
Yeah. No, and that's my point. Like, that doesn't mean Jeep has to go out and build a luxury utility version of the G-Wagon, right? Like, Ineos has that covered. That if that's the specific car you want, you go buy an Ineos. Yeah, competition is great, but let somebody else build it. As a major manufacturer, you can give us a better product doing what you do versus trying to be something you're not.
Yeah.
And I think like I said, the resurgence of these independent brands, the Rivians, the Lucids, that was all based around the push to get EVs on the road and in everybody's driveway,
Sure.
which, again, it's not that there isn't driveways that need them, but I would love to see like Edison Motors scale their product down, which they do have plans to go from big rigs down to like pickup trucks. Like there will be a pickup truck version of that kit where you can go retrofit your Cummins 3500
Right.
and put a hybrid drivetrain in it and get 5, 6, 700 miles of range. So like that concept.
Yeah.
Like if somebody were to start building a full size pickup truck that is a generator driven electric drivetrain, or I don't know what the official term they use for it is, but if you build a completely unique product with that drivetrain, I bet you it does sell, because there's a whole bunch of transport guys that would love to have 1,000 miles of range out of their normal 30-gallon fuel tank.
Right.
But I don't see Dodge building that, right? Like just keep building the trucks the way you build them. People will buy them. Like just embrace the new market, essentially.
Do you see it as a benefit at all for the big companies to start acquiring those small ones and still keep them as an offshoot brand? But like does that
I think
make sense?
That's what's led us into this hole, in my opinion. We just saw it on a small scale with automotive, like the off-road accessories, truck and off-road accessories. A lot of companies went out and bought up all the small guys, and the whole market went to shit. And now the small guys that didn't sell out are thriving. Obviously the guys that sold out and are big companies, their product is everywhere, but the product suffered, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think the automotive industry for the last 100 years has been on that cycle,
Right.
of I'm big enough, you're small enough, I own you now. And they either disappear. I forget the title of the book, but there's a whole book about how the government killed the Tucker, which I think was the 50s. And it's that exact concept. Tucker, as a car company, was gaining traction, built a good product, and essentially, whoever you want to blame for it, use their money and their influence to make it impossible for them to stay in business.
Right. Right.
I think there's an absolute benefit to having more small manufacturers than allowing the big manufacturers to continue to get bigger.
All right. So that brings me to another question of these kind of more boutique things, as you're saying. This is not off-roading or SUV world, but certainly could be. Are you familiar with the Cadillac Celestiq? The like really very expensive, like Rolls-Royce competing coach-built Caddy.
Yep.
Do you see a space for that, especially in the SUV world, of bigger companies, but then having kind of a coach-built boutique extension of, super luxury
Sure.
in that space?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be a coach-built, custom-built, modified, upfit, whatever term you want to put on it. Like that's always going to exist, as long as there's cars and there's enthusiasts and people have money. Like that's going to exist. To parallel that concept goes back 100 years. Duesenberg didn't actually build any of their cars. They built a frame and a motor, and you took it to a coach builder, or you chose a coach builder, which led to a lot of really cool, unique cars that were super rare, super expensive. It's we're rewinding back a little bit, and I think it is beneficial in the sense that the old term rising tides raise all boats. You get small companies putting pressure on big companies. The big companies start to, in theory, start to be better. If we get to a point where Ford and GM and Chrysler are just going out and going, "Ooh, this Rivian's a really good product. Hey, we own you now."
Yeah.
That's bad for a consumer.
Sure.
So I think it's I think it's an interesting time and shift, especially like I said with the EV mandates being lightened. It opens up the opportunity for other companies to come up with other ideas, and I 15, 20 years down the line, I think there may be a boom of small companies that maybe a lot do exist solely to sell their technology out, right? Like there is a whole industry in that, and you make a startup and sell it to a Ford or a GM. We'll see.
Do you see a hole that needs to be filled in the industry that nobody's talking about, or not really?
No. I think there's too many
as far
options.
as like off-roading, SUV, overlanding, rock crawling, all the your world.
No, I
that's
think
as far as the hole is concerned.
yeah. I mean, there's always the emergence of all these two-door sports car off-roaders is definitely an interesting trend. That's 5 years ago. I wouldn't have sat here and said, "Yeah, I need an off-road version of a GR86."
Yeah.
So like obviously,
so cool.
I think there's an obvious point of there's always something new that can be created. And again, the pressure of these small independent companies building a specific product is what is driving them to come up with new ideas. So take it or leave it, hate it or love it. It's where we're at, and I think it's the sign of an upswing.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're fully at the bottom yet. I think that's still coming as far as a crash, but like the trend of thinning down product or model lines, simplifying ordering processes and manufacturing processes, like that's all already trending. So that's to me indications that something's going to change.
Sure. Cool. All right. I feel like that's a good wrap point. I feel like if we go down another rabbit hole, we'll talk for another 45 minutes.
All right, listen, I got 10 inches of snow and now it's just raining, so I could
As amazing as that sounds, I think I'll take my 80 and sunny and go watch some football.
Oh yeah, it is a championship weekend, isn't it?
It is. I don't know which game
I'm boycotting the NFL.
As a Bills fan,
I don't care.
As a Bills fan, you should.
I'm trying to not be that fan. This is a completely different podcast. I'm trying to not be that fan, but there's just so much going on right now. Like, I'll deal with it in August.
Yeah,
it's real depressing because my hockey team also sucks, and that's a whole nother mess. So it's like I don't like this winter just got real depressing. I got nothing to do.
Yeah.
So. Oh. Yay, motorsports! I'm gonna go to King of the Hammers. So. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you guys are supposed to be bad. Oh yeah, I was joking with. We had a customer pick up, and they were wearing a Bills hoodie. Like this was Thursday night, and I was like, oof. I was like, as a fellow Bills fan, I'm surprised you're wearing that in public.
Yeah.
And he just kind of laughed, and he's like, yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We were talking and whatnot, but I was just like, I joked with him. I was like, yeah, I'm a Rangers fan, and they suck, so it's off-road racing, like Baja F1's going to kick up here in March. Like, I might just watch golf and racing for the rest of the year. We'll give baseball a short chance.
Yeah.
See what happens, but
Well, as you being a Mets fan, yeah, that tends to lead to disappointment. But
yeah,
not that
you're
being a
telling me.
Yankee fan is much better because we just seem to choke every year.
Yeah.
So I say we, not
Yep.
me, just them. But all right, well, I really appreciate once again you include me in the podcast.
Always.
So, hope
It's
everybody-
it's good. There's as much as I love the rest of the boys, you and I have these conversations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The boys don't quite follow it on this level.
Yeah.
So I think
Well,
it's
I hope,
it's a good change of pace.
Yeah, I hope everybody listening, finds the change of pace a little nice. So, yeah, I love doing this.
You guys know where to find us. DirtNerds Motors, DirtNerds_Motors on Instagram, the Dirt Drive on Instagram, DirtNerdsOffroad.com. Hammers is going to be epic. So we have a plan. Thank you, Starlink. We should be able to be posting pretty consistently from the lake bed. So follow the socials. We're going to do stories. There's going to be stuff getting posted daily. And hopefully some good content.
As a fan, I'm excited. I can't wait to hear all about it and see all the stuff you guys do.
Yeah, it should be a good time.
Awesome.
So,
well, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you guys later. All right.
All right.
Cool.